Apparently, there's supposed to be an Epstein client list being released in the future. Although the odds that the very powerful people who control the information are going to allow that information to come out, I find hard to believe. With that said, we have a tidbit of information about Epstein.
Really?
Epstein's very tangled web. The convicted pedophile met with current CIA director William Burns, Obama White House lawyer Noam Chomsky, music director for the American Symphony, and many, many more, years after his sex conviction. Now, the CIA director, if you go through and if you read the article, it's very lengthy. The CIA director says that he didn't know that he was a pedophile. So that's the kind of research our CIA is capable of, if you believe what he says. But I don't. He knew.
It's amazing to me, like how many elitists are there in America, David? A few thousand?
It's hard to say. Good question.
Yeah, because these people all know each other.
You would think they would at least have heard some things.
Know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
This is kind of like with the whole Bill Cosby thing, right? When people said that they heard about it from other comedians and everything else of that nature. Like, there's no way that people did not know that this guy that was hanging out with presidents, heads of states, CIA directors, not to mention whoever else he didn't write on a client's list. Why is there a client list to begin with, David?
Well, I'm sure that's a pretty standard thing for people to do, is keep a list of their... I mean...
It's almost like he's an intelligence agency or something trying to...
Well, I mean...
possibly gain blackmail on people by placing them in situations that may or may not be self-incriminating, if released a certain way.
So his front really was what he told people was he was a money manager, right? Wasn't that the thing? Didn't he handle like wealth management for a lot of these high class, high tiered A-list types of folks?
The people that don't know each other.
So really, he would be keeping a customer list, Ryan. I suppose it could make sense in theory, but
unless he's banging all of them, he's just a big homosexual. I mean,
all things considered, and very well could be, but I don't know. He may be a pedophile, Ryan, but he's not a homosexual. All things considered, it's certainly on the front just seemed like he was a normal guy. Handled was real good with money. Handled wealth management for a bunch of people, and that's why the top people went to him. But now, as the story goes deeper and deeper, and we now know certain things, which we've known for a while. Obviously, I think the conviction was in like 2009 or something. So all these people, I don't buy the, especially from a CIA director, I don't buy the "I didn't know" approach from him. I don't think that's the case. I think all of these people, most of these people, on the lightest scale, knew what they were getting into when they were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
This is what's crazy, Like, this he's telling me that he didn't know this guy was a pedophile, maybe. But then everything I do. You tell what everybody does on a Tuesday. You know what we buy, where we go. You can read my phone from space. You know what Donald Trump was doing on this day and who he was talking to about this thing. And you have all these very sophisticated filters that you can use. You have portals on social media companies.
So direct access with social media companies so you can silence people's free speech.
And sway elections.
But you didn't know the publicly convicted guy was a pedophile.
Yeah, that hangs out with A-list celebrities after. Like, you would... To be in the position that Jeffrey Epstein was in, he would already have to be remarkable in some way. He'd have to be smart, witty, high skill, possess something, know somebody. Like, he's not just like he didn't get there by accident, right? Like, he knows somebody bare minimum, which makes it an exceptional case. And for him to be exceptional before being convicted pedophile, imagine how amazing you have to be to still stay that way after, or to become it after. Like this, I just don't, you always hear stories of greatness of like Oprah and Joe Rogan and people that go from nothing to something and rags to riches stories. And you're going to tell me that this guy went from convicted fucking pedophile to like A-list billionaire hanging out on private islands with fully recordable suites that he could make. Give me a break. Give me a fucking break. How much money, how much organization? You don't have contracts for any of the things that those houses were built with. Who's the guy that installed the cameras? Because it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein. He doesn't know how to do that. That was paid by somebody. Who did that? Did the government pay for that? Did a foreign government pay for that? Somebody had to get a check for that. That wasn't done for free and slave labor. This is a freaking villa on a private island. This isn't something that you build or buy off Walmart or are a minimalist home. These people like have billions of dollars. Like this is a like like Jurassic Park. Like give me a break. Nothing. Crickets.
Well, here's the two scenarios really. Either he was so good at what he did that they ignored the fact he was a pedophile. Maybe.
There is a couple good crackheads that are really good at stuff, right? Like he's a nice guy, he's just got a drug problem.
Yeah. Or hear me out. It's more likely that all these people were prior clients of Epstein, and he had dirt on them. So even after the conviction, they had no choice. They had to use them.
See, and this is where it doesn't make sense to me. Like, well, don't get me wrong. I definitely think all those people on Epstein's list were up to some degree of not okayness, right? Like, I'm not going to accuse former presidents of doing, but they didn't go there to, just
hang out on a beach.
Yeah, and talk about soccer and lacrosse about their kids and stuff,
Even if it was half. I mean, there were people certainly outside of Epstein who knew what was going on that island.
But the thing that never made sense to me is like, how did this guy not think that they weren't going to kill him in prison? Like if you're involved in that level of operation, there's like how you think you're going to get the way out. James Bond doesn't get a way out. He's the best at everything. Like spies don't get ways out. They don't live like a set sail. Like if you go to jail, you're going to be self-suicided, even though you're on suicide, even though there's cameras that aren't working during a guard shift change. And you're put in prison with a guy that looks like a comic book villain, superhero villain. And yeah, I don't, it just like this guy was just so comfortable, ready. Did he really think he was just going to get away with it this time?
Well, maybe it's one of those things where I'm guessing it started small and you push the envelope a little bit more until you get to where you're at.
Push the envelope, David. How many times were people at that place?
A lot, but my point is, I doubt like the first time somebody met Epstein, he's like, "Hey, you want to go fuck underage kids?" It's probably not how the conversation went.
No, but I bet you before they went to that island, they discussed shady shit like that.
Oh, I'm. That's what I mean, though. Like it probably started out feeling.
So they're fucking kids. So you're saying, David, that there might potentially be like, I don't know, a less remote island that they can test these people at before they take them to like true.
No, it doesn't even have to be an island. He had a home in Florida or something.
Oh, David, you're saying Island's not the only place that they could be. It's not the only resort of its kind.
No. There's definitely only one fuck
Come
island.
On. There's gotta only be one.
But maybe he invited some people over. He had condos in New York. He had a place in Miami or Florida or somewhere. I don't know. It started out small. It's, hey, I'm going to manage some money for you. Oh, cool. Oh, this Epstein guy is pretty smart. He's making me a lot of money. Blah blah blah. Hey, why don't you come on over? We're gonna have some drinks. Oh, we have some drinks. Girl comes in for a massage, and that's probably the test, right? It's like there's two types of people. There's the guy who's gonna be like, whoa, she's definitely not 18, and there's probably some guys who are like, hey, this little.
Do you think Tate was ever to Epstein Island?
What's that?
Tate was to Epstein Island. Do you think that?
Oh, I doubt it.
That's kind of funny, though, to reference Tate here in this very scumbaggery conversation with the way the internet can do things. Isn't it funny that they did everything with Tate once again and they got nothing on Epstein? Dude, this boils my blood, man. People were told about pedophiles and elitists 20 years ago. This guy dies in prison. Not supposed to.
Suicide, total suicide. hung himself with a bed sheet from a top bunk of a bunk bed. That was shorter than he was. Seems likely. The client list. We've been hearing about this alleged client list for a long time. If you were a betting man and you had to put money on it, do you think this thing's coming out?
Yes, but not the full list. The list that you really want to see, you're not going to see. And the list that you don't want to see, you're probably going to see. Like, there's going to be things on here that are going to be damning politically for certain people or certain politicians or certain businessmen or certain judges or certain police officers or
only the ones that they want you to see, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's as biased as artificial intelligence asking you where between Stephen Hawking and Donald Trump you fall on compassion, but yeah, I would argue that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, I don't think you're going to see, I mean, how many examples do you need to see of the very thing happening? Like, right, Joe Biden's classification of documents compared to the way they handled Trump. Like, that's just a small example. So polish that to maybe pedophilia. And, I don't know who, I heard this from Patrick Bet David. There's like a congressional fund that is paid by taxpayers that is like a sexual hush fund for congressmen to like basically pay for legal bills to hush sexual assault in the highest levels of power in America.
Specifically for that, or is it like in general to their legal fund, and then
no, it's like some
people.
No, it's like
there's a specific sexual assault fund for Congress people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patrick Bet David pulled it up.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
How do I even search that?
Just type in sexual assault Congress fund.
Sexual assault Congress fund.
Go sexually assault Congress.
I'm not going to go sexually. Oh, 503 services temporarily unavailable.
Oh, that's weird. Sure, it was fine a minute ago.
Hold on, I got to check maybe I'd check a different service.
It's old. They like started the thing in like the 80s, man. Like the late 80s.
Congress's sexual harassment system decoded. It has all the makings of a serious scandal. More than $17 million in public money paid since 1997 to settle workplace disputes.
There you go.
But the reality of what critics lambast as sexual harassment slush fund is more complicated. Oh, it's more complicated.
It's just for them, just like Obamacare. Well, if Obamacare is so good, how about you take it? No.
Yeah. It's nuanced, Ryan. The money covers all sorts of settlements. See, this is what I was thinking. It was a general.
Yeah, all sorts of different settlements.
And some lawmakers cut their own side deals with the accusers. Oh, so the $17 million is actually more. I like how they make it seem like that makes it better.
Well, sure, David. It's not like they're all millionaires and are able to just pay people a bunch of money to shut up, David, right? They like just make the same amount what their constituents make, right?
Wow, that is a shockingly high number, though. A $17 million public money paid since 97. 16 million of that had to be the Clinton campaign, right?
15.5.
He's got 16.9 of the 17 million.
Everything was fine until those Clintons. Bill was one thing, but Hillary was the worst. She was probably grabbing so much cock on Secret Service agents.
Cock? She probably grabbed more pussy than Bill did.
They like it. Just you grab them right by the pussy. I can't believe that guy ever became president twice.
Well, once officially. Yeah, I don't know the client list. I'd be shocked if we ever saw anything remotely official.
I wonder if Steven Crowder's on the list.
Doubt it.
What if? See, here's the thing too. What if they release a fake list? How would you know?
How would you know? How are you going to vet it yourself?
I'll just ask the AI, David. They know everything.
I mean, seriously though, how do you know any list that comes out is going to be real? How do you know anything is real? It really can get pretty general and vague with it, but
yeah, have a damn panic attack at the end of the day. I don't know. I'm going to panic out of here. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern for the weekly show. Yeah, Dave, as always, thank you for your time. I'll see everybody later. YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Almost forgot that. All right.
Rumble.
Rumble.
Very much Rumble. The other ones too, but definitely Rumble.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Facebook won't let this forever. Right?
Thanks, Ryan.
Later, man.